Alright guys, in this video we're going to be discussing how to find the best form that fits you. Now keep in mind we're using my 91 overall sharpshooter. He's meant to be good at shooting. If you guys remember, sharpshooters were phenomenal. I had a form that worked perfectly. And then 2K patched the fuck out the sharpshooters, my form fell apart, and so I've been kind of scavenging trying to figure out which one works for me, and I've landed on one. So I'm going to be discussing which form that is here in this video, and how to find a form for y'all. So, to get us started, my form is James Harden. I don't use a custom release, mainly because it's already difficult enough to find a form. I've tried putting together forms, and it worked for a bit, then I just lost its touch. It's a long story. James Harden's a form that I'm consistent with when I play my team, so I figured I'd give it a shot on my career, and it works perfectly. Now granted, generally when I use releases, I've tried a bunch of different releases. The one I dropped the 95-point game on, for those curious, was the Kyrie Irving form, and this was previous to the second sharpshooter patch. So it was when they initially dropped the grand badge in the game, but they didn't patch the sharpshooters. I used the Kyrie Irving form. And my 79-point game I played used the Stephen Curry form. So you can tell I've been switching around a lot, so I have quite a bit of experience with many different forms and just trying to figure out what works for me. So the number one thing when you're choosing your form is you want a form that goes up quickly. Now there's some forms like Robert Ory where you're just pulling up way too fast. It's impossible to control, especially if you're shooting with the right stick. So first of all, if you missed my previous video, I talked about why I switched to using square instead of the right stick after all the patches. I'm gonna leave a link in the description if you guys want to get caught up on all of that. But I'm shooting with square now, which means that I can adapt and use quicker releases. So James Harden is a fairly quick release relative to Stephen Curry, which means that if I don't have a lot of time, I can pull up and still get the shot off. So I'm gonna choose a James Harden release. We're gonna back out real quick, and I'm gonna give you all some of the tips that I use. So regardless of which form you're using, these will help you perfect your form. The first thing, no matter which form you're using, you pull up for the shot, you have to get used to the release. You can't just switch to James Harden or Stephen Curry or Kyrie Irving and just start to ball. Now you might, but you're gonna have to perfect the form. You're gonna have to get used to it. You're gonna have to put in practice. And so while you're putting that practice, it's gonna take reps is what I'm trying to say. And when you're doing those reps, there's some things you're gonna have to take into account so that you're consistent and you're actually focused. You're trying to work on your shot. Now, unlike real life, where my shot, no matter how fucking hard I work on it, never gets better, in 2K, it does. Now, I've been saying this for a while. No matter what release you're using, especially once you get used to release, stop looking at the shot meter. Now 2K has told us the shot meter is not entirely accurate. So if you want to take your shots based on some estimates, go ahead, do your thing. A lot of people shoot with the shot meter. I know that because a lot of people were complaining about the shot meter glitch. Well, I'm telling you right now, the best shooters shoot looking at their player. Let me pull up for a shot right here. Now, it's one more other thing I need to bring up before I get really deep into this shit is I want you to practice online when you practice. The practice I'm doing here doesn't mean anything. What I'm shooting around right now does not fucking mean anything because once I hop online, the release is gonna feel so much more different than it does when you're playing offline. My career, my court, unless you're playing with a friend and you're playing online, this shit does not count as practice. Unless you want to play and you're practicing for offline. If you're practicing to play on the park or on the pro-am and compete against some of your friends online, practice online because there is a huge fucking difference between the latency when you play offline and online, especially with the James Harden release. I don't even know how to shoot with this release offline. I'm not consistent with it. I remember one time I put together Stephen Curry base and a Kevin Durant release, and it was phenomenal on my court. Like all I got was greens. I went online, I couldn't play with it. That latency makes a huge difference. So practice online, play online. The next thing, to find your release, this is what I recommend you do, and I'm not playing. I seriously recommend y'all play my team to find your release because that's how I found mine. Now, what I do generally is I just shoot around with players. I'm like, this player is pretty consistent. I really like his release. I think it's fluid. I think it's easy to take a look at. And James Harden's release, even though he's a left-handed player in the game, it's really easy to tell when to release the ball to get greens for me. So play my team. Continuously play my team, play more my team, and then play some more my team and find a release on one of those players that you really enjoy. And during this process, you're probably gonna go through like 10-20 releases. You will do it because you can try and use the releases that I use or another YouTuber uses or one of your friends told you was really good, but you're gonna have issues no matter which way you look at it until you find a release that fits you. I don't know anybody else using James Harden. I know some people that use a lot of other different, those forms don't work for me. Full release. It's really easy for me to know when to release to James Harden. It just is. is. So I told you guys not to look at your shot meter, look at your player. Now, the next tip I'm gonna tell you is gonna be the biggest one by far, regardless of anything else that I say in this video. If you don't do this thing here, and you're gonna look at me and be like, Agent, that can't possibly be the biggest tip, but it is. Release the ball when it feels like you should release it. Now, that sounds like some taboo psychology, just some fucking foreign shit, right? You're like, Agent, come on, be a little bit more practical. What the fuck does that mean? When does it feel like you should release the ball? Now, the reason I really like the Stephen Curry form was because it was a slow form and that was its biggest downfall, but it was so easy with the one motion shooter like Stephen Curry to tell when to release the ball. Now, James Harden's another one of those players. When I play my team with him, all I do is get greens because I can tell when to release the ball because I'm not looking at the shot meter, I'm looking at the player. Do you see James Harden shooting in real life? There's a moment in his shot when he releases it, when he gets to the apex of his shot. Now, this is why I say get a form that fits you, not a form that fits your friend or your favorite YouTuber, is because you're gonna feel differently about a shot than the next person will. Like, there's gonna be some of you that try the James Harden shot after this video and you're gonna be like, no, I don't know what Agent's talking about. Like, I can't use this form, it's trash. And what I generally do when I'm switching between these forms and I'm trying to find what the best one for me is, I rank them. So a rank S, generally for me, kind of like in vehicles, is like the A1 class, like is the best of the best. I've only ever played with that Stephen Curry and the Kyrie before the patches where S releases to me. Everything else is below that. And so I'll generally just write down in a notepad document like lists. So this is a B release, this one's S, this is a D release, this one's a C. So I kind of class them myself just so I know never to go back and check out that form. So because there'll be times I check out a form and then I'll switch back to it later after leaving it because I'm like, let me give this one another shot. But back to the biggest tip real quick, y'all. When does it feel like you should be releasing the ball? I don't know how else to put it, but it's all about fluidity. When you're going up for the shot, release it in one fluid motion. Don't release it too early while he's still going up in the air, while he's still jumping, while he's still putting power on the shot. Don't release it on his way down. Now this seems like a very Agent, come on man, well, you're saying some shit everybody knows. But you will be inconsistent until you start doing that. It's just the way it is. You also have to keep in mind sometimes in a catch and shoot situation, your player will catch the ball and it'll take him a little bit longer to go up with the shot. You know, one of those leaning shots where it looks like he's off balance a little bit but he's not. Like, if you give me a chance with this sharpshooter, doing my James Harden release online, I can literally get like 15 greens in a row. See, the only way I don't, considering they're open, because contested it's a lot more difficult to make a green release, but I'm telling y'all, it's about a fluid shot. So don't look at the shot meter when you're shooting. To be honest, if the shot meter said red, I wouldn't give a fuck, alright? Because I'm always looking at my player. Granted, it's an estimate, but it'd never be that far off. The shot meter isn't that far off. So when people were complaining about the shot meter glitch, I understand if your preference is to look at the shot meter, but I recommend not only do you give it a shot, to ignore the shot meter for a bit and just look at your player, but I recommend you actually, like, for reps, for time, for days, and maybe for a week, just try it out and see if you can get used to it. My phone's about to cut me off, but if you can get used to it, it's the most effective way to shoot. And it's been like this last year, man. The problem I had with 2K16 was the same thing, is it didn't feel like every single time I pulled up for a shot, like the shot meter didn't feel accurate. And the dev said the shot meter is generally for beginners. So if you're new to a form, you're a beginner to the James Harden form, it's valuable to look at the shot meter and be like, now that was a good release. See, that time it was really close to I almost got a green, so it's an estimate. So if you forget about the shot meter for a bit, start looking at your player and just shoot in one fluid motion. Now, I recommend y'all hop on my team and find a form that's clean as fuck. Try them out with your My Career player and see how it goes. Remember, you gotta play online, because I've tried playing offline. I found green releases and then I went online. I was like, nah. It's different online. It's different. And it takes a lot. Like, you can even turn off the shot meter if that helps you out. Now, I keep the shot meter on because I use the shot meter for free throws. That's what I did, alright, to find my release. I recommend y'all try this shit out. See how it works out for you. I understand a lot of y'all aren't used to this shit, but give it a shot. Don't only give it a shot, give it like 20 shots, because you're not gonna try it one time and be like, oh, Agent, you were right, this is perfect. It's gonna take practice, because you're gonna have to kill some of the bad habits of looking at and staring at the shot meter while you're pulling up for your shot. Plus, why the fuck are you staring at your shot meter in game? You should be looking at your surroundings. You staring at your shot meter, you can't see an open teammate. It's like dribbling with your head down playing basketball. Anyway, let me get this green real quick. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. If you guys enjoyed, found this helpful, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, y'all wanna see more 2K17 content. I'm out. Peace.